All right, we are back. It's another action-packed show. We have the one and only OSB Sports Podcast Show, and I am joined again by this tremendous cast that I have with me this week. The one and only, here he is, guys, the Big Kahuna, and the CEO of the Sports Profits, Mr. Teddy Brooks. How's it going, Teddy?
What a cast of characters we have
Isn't it?
here.
It's like the Three Stooges reunited or something.
Yep. Every week we get to reunite. I love it.
Hey, you know
it's
what?
the highlight of my week.
Listen, we love what we do, and we're all together doing it. So what's wrong with that, right?
We don't talk to each other after the show, but it's all good.
Listen, you're too busy in South Beach hanging out, Big
South
Kahuna.
Beach. I had to take a rowboat here today, man. You see this weather down here?
Yeah, we're getting hit hard, guys.
Yeah.
A lot of rain. They're talking about like 8 to 10 inches of rain down here in South Florida over the next few days. So it's going to be interesting. But you know what? It's not stopping all of us from doing what we love to do. And we got an action-packed week between the NBA, college basketball, which Teddy and I love very much, and we got college football and the NFL. So we're going to, anything on your mind you want to talk about before we roll into the action-packed show?
I don't know if you guys saw, pretty interesting, the hockey player that kicked the guy in the neck and killed him, unfortunately. He got charged this week on Tuesday with manslaughter.
Wow.
Which is the first time ever a sports player in the actual event of the sport got charged with a crime for something that happened in that sport. Now, he wasn't charged in the U.S. I believe it was in the U.K.
Yeah, I don't know what that was out of the country, I think.
It was out of the country. I don't know how that would apply here. I mean, I started thinking about it. Like, what if a pitcher beamed a guy in the head and, God forbid, he dies? Is that pitcher now liable for manslaughter? I mean, it opens up some questions because sports can be dangerous. Not basketball so much, especially football. People can get paralyzed and die.
Well, I remember when I was a kid. I don't know, you weren't even around then, but I don't want to give my age, but Tony Conigliaro got beamed, and that like ruined his career. He was a tremendous player for the Red Sox, young, up and coming, good-looking guy. His career got ruined when he got beamed, and he ended up, dying at a young age. But I don't know if it was the effects from all that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there was anybody charged back then on something like that. But that's crazy, huh? What do you think of that?
Well, I have saw this incident, but I think this was more of malicious than an accident. You being someone in the head throwing a fastball, the ball gets away from the pitcher. This, I think, was something more to that, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
and
if you watch the video,
and a blade to the neck is a deadly type of instrument here.
First time ever, though, right?
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like,
I mean, how do you plan that? You can't.
The other
plan
examples are accidents. I mean, I think what people are saying is this goes beyond an accident because for that blade to get up in the air like that to the neck area is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, you know what? Let's move on to something more interesting because I know the people want to know what we got going on this week, especially with the winning yours truly did last week. We kicked some butt here on the show with our plays. I think Big Kahuna, after that 2-week missing in action, came out with some winners last week as well.
Hit the Thursday night game, hit Bama, had Colorado, plus the points. I'm going to be talking about Coach Prime again. He's going up to Washington State. We'll get to that.
Kahuna loves Coach Prime. The only game Kahuna didn't win was the one that he went up against me against, which was the San Fran.
Yeah.
Told you, those 49ers, man.
That was a strong pick, man.
Giving you a jab, Big Kahuna. You went against them.
Well deserved. Deserved.
And something else that Kahuna was right about that I chimed in on and agreed with him was they juiced that Georgia line. Georgia was favored by more than they should have been in that game, by a couple points, in our opinion, and sure enough, Georgia crushed them. And they actually moved to number one in the playoff polls now.
Yeah, that was a big win for them, beating a big team like that. So they got a big boost in the polls, and now they're the number one team. But listen, Georgia's been number one. He's the number one team in the nation for the last 3 years now.
The real question now, one of the real questions with college football, is what happens with Harbaugh and Michigan. You know, he's on the sidelines now. They won the game against Penn State.
3 games.
He's on the sidelines for the rest of the regular season. He's claiming they're America's team. Shannon Sharp says, no, you're not America's team if you're cheating. is it
Right.
really cheating? Because what they did, technically, it's against the college football
They're
rules.
all doing it, though.
Right.
It's just some
They're
get
all
caught,
doing
some
it.
don't.
Exactly.
I mean, the bottom line is, listen, everyone's looking for an upper hand. Everyone's looking for the edge, no matter how you play it out at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, that's just the name of the game. It's sports. You want the best players on the field for you, and you're going to do whatever it takes to try to find them and get them to come your way versus going another direction. But listen, we got a big time finally game on Thursday night. Two teams right out of the AFC North going at each other. You got the Cincinnati Bengals and Mr. Joe Burrow taking it on the road against Baltimore with Mr. Lamar Jackson. I'm going to start with you, Ted, and see what your thoughts are on this game.
So this is an interesting game. It's fun to have finally a good good NFL matchup on Thursday. Two tough teams, two teams that they show some different sides. You know, a lot of people are saying, wow, the Ravens are winning. Lamar Jackson isn't actually playing his best football right now. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he can step it up. The Ravens defense has some issues too. I mean, they gave up
they
30.
blew that game.
Yeah, they gave up over 30 points to the Browns. What happens with the Ravens, it seems, is that they play well against NFC teams that don't really know their scheme as much because they don't see them as much, and they get beat up on by AFC teams. That's an interesting thing. Burrow looks great for the Bengals. The receivers are a little roughed
Banged up right now. Chase
You got
with the
Chase, T. Higgins. Both
Yep.
of them are a little roughed up. Chase should be playing. He's probable right now. I'm taking a little bit of a different approach on this game. If you look at the numbers, the Ravens play well, very well. They have the number one against the spread record in the first half. I don't know what's going to happen the whole game. I'm taking Ravens first half.
Okay.
Money line.
What's that, about -2?
Something like that, 1 or 2. I'm just taking it on the money
The
line.
line's 3.5 for the game, so
Right.
it would be something around those numbers.
Tommy, any opinion on this game? A
Well,
strong play or what?
we finally get a good game
Yep.
versus this Pop Warner stuff that's been on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
But
Tell me about it.
I mean, look, last week both these teams blew leads. They were favorites. They lost. They lost by field goals, actually.
They lost at the end, both of
They
them.
lost both in the end. You know, Cincinnati, I'd see this as a revenge game. Ravens beat them earlier in the year. ATS, Ravens are 6-4, 4-4-1 for the Bengals here. I'm definitely leaning towards taking the points here with Cincinnati. Burrows have thrown for 340 yards the last 2 games. But it's an interesting stat here. Turnover differential. Bengals are +10. They lead the league. Ravens are only +1. I
Doing
think
his homework this week.
well,
Wow.
listen.
Big kahuna.
Yeah.
Woo.
Well, I just see
Love it.
I see a combination revenge factor here. I'm going to take the points plus the 3.5. If Cincy could contain the Ravens, I'll take the field goal and a half here that takes Cincy to cover.
I think you better go back to South Beach because I'm going against you in
Hey,
a big way.
that's what makes the world go round, man.
I think
Bring-
Baltimore's.
bring it on.
I think Baltimore's the right side of this game. It's a short week. Cincinnati got some injuries. I don't think they're going to be healthy all the way on a short week. They'll only have like 2 days, maybe even 1 day of practice going into this game. I think Baltimore's the better of the two teams at this point in time. I'm still my doubts with this Cincinnati team. I don't know. When all their weapons are there and they're all right, yeah, they're a dynamite team. And Joe Burrow is absolutely one of the best, if not the best, under Patrick Mahomes in the NFL as a starting quarterback. But I'm going to ride with Lamar at home. I'd get this line down to 2.5, guys. I wouldn't be fooling around with 3.5 on a game like this. I think the number's right. And I like Baltimore in this game, -2.5. For a 7-unit play.
Wow.
7 units. Now, 10 is my best, which I've been nailing on the show if you've been following. This is a 7-unit selection. You want anything on that?
That's all I have. Like I said, I like Ravens first half. I think the Bengals could cover the full game, but I like Ravens first half. Joe Burrow, the one thing that scares me about the Bengals is Joe Burrow was playing really bad and he was hurt.
Yep.
And the Ravens only beat him by 3. So it's going to be a good game, but I'm on Ravens first half. I'm not touching the full game.
All right, I'm with you. I like the Ravens. I think they're the right side of the game. Sorry about that, Big Kahuna, but we're going against you.
Well, better man will win, as they say.
We might be either bowing down to you on the next show.
Let's see, man.
All right, there's only one college football game on Thursday. Anybody? I'm not touching that game. I don't like it at all. Any opinion?
Dog shit game, I'm sorry to say.
I'm playing a Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, Friday. I'm looking at something on Friday also.
All right, well, I'm going to go over to you, Big Kahuna, on Friday. Tell us what you're looking at, college football.
I had Colorado last week. I took the points they covered. Colorado travels to Washington State. I mean, these two teams came out of the gate like fire this year, but then they basically
literally like coming out on fire,
right.
both of them.
But for the most part, they both have fallen apart. Washington has lost 6 games. Washington State 6 in a row.
Colorado 4 in a row.
Right. Colorado has hit their win total for the season so far, so at least they accomplished something here. I mean, Washington State at home has beat 2 quality teams, Wisconsin, Oregon State. Yes, the Buffaloes did beat TCU on the road, but I have to edge towards Washington State here. I'm going to take minus the 4.5. I think Colorado is definitely looking for next year already. I'm taking Florida State to cover at home against the Buffaloes.
Not Florida State, Colorado's.
Washington State.
Washington
Excuse
State.
me.
Wow, you're going against Coach Prime this week.
I'm going to go. I took him last week.
Better send Coach Prime a memo that Tommy D's
he just
going
lost his
against him.
biggest fan.
Coach Prime, he's making probably a lot of money selling those sunglasses online somewhere.
All right, let's go to you, Teddy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this big spread, USF versus UTSA. USF is a team that is downtrodden, and they are not good. Their defense is really bad. They're 130th versus the pass, which UTSA is passing very well right now. UTSA has a quarterback, Frank Harris, that's been in college football for 7 years. And he was actually hurt at the beginning of the season, and now he's starting to come back into form and come back healthy. And this guy has been on fire lately, showing improvement week after week after week. They're 6-0 straight up in their last 6, 4-1 against the spread in their last 6. An offense that's getting better every week, a quarterback that's getting better every week. They've put up 34 points or more in their last 6 games. I like UTSA minus 16. I like UTSA team total over. USF gave up 56 points to FAU. They gave up 56 points to Alabama Birmingham, and they gave up 59 points to Memphis. I don't think it's any different with this UTSA game this week. So I'm on UTSA team total over and to cover the spread.
Sounds like you like that game, my friend.
I do.
All right.
I don't give the unit points like you do, but if I did, I'd probably go 8 or 9.
Just back up. Who's been for 7 years?
Frank Harris. Eligibility things,
Right.
transferring,
Injury and all that stuff.
Injuries. You know, when you get hurt, you get
I
extra
hope
years.
his parents aren't paying that 7-year tuition, man.
I'm pretty sure.
feeling it right now in my first year.
It's like Animal House. They were like in school for like 7 years also. In
I'm pretty sure
I don't know.
I'm
It's
pretty sure
expensive.
he's scholarshiped
God.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
you never know,
I-
though. Some of those, kids, they're walk-ons. They don't get the full boat, but they get,
Well, I
they
think
get
by
help.
now he has to be. But yeah, no. Overall, he's been around for a long time, and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be all him on Friday night.
I want to ask you guys something before we jump into a big weekend of football. Anything on your mind? So with the early NBA, you seeing anything that stands out? I mean, obviously Denver's playing great. The Celtics are playing great. There's some teams. Philadelphia's actually playing really well right now with their new first-year coach. Anything in the NBA?
I'm going to divert that question, and I'm going to go to college hoops, and I'm going to say that I really like. Everyone hates Duke. Everyone loves to hate Duke.
Yeah.
I think Duke has a big bounce back year this week, and I think they go deep. So right now, I had them last night minus the 3, and they cover that. I'm riding Duke right now. That's what I'm looking at when it comes to basketball. I don't really look at the NBA much. I did see that Draymond Green choked out Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And after
That's
the
going
game,
to be a suspension for sure.
after the game, Rudy Gobert says that Draymond Green purposely does stuff like this because when Steph Curry isn't playing, he likes to get kicked out of the game too. I don't know what that's all about, but
Wants to
that's
hang out with Steph in the locker room
and
or
that's the
something?
exact reason why I don't really mess with the NBA because you got all this weird that doesn't happen in other sports. So
Well,
I
that's
just
gonna be a multiple game suspension, I think.
yeah, it
for
was
sure.
it was pretty messy.
I mean, you can really hurt somebody like that.
Lucky it didn't turn to a Malice in the Palace. Remember that one in
Yeah.
Detroit?
Oh yeah, I was watching that game. As crazy as it sounds, I don't want to give my age away, but
well, no.
definitely was watching that game
Malice
that
in the
night.
Palace,
All of a
yeah.
sudden, cups were flying, sodas, fans were throwing drinks.
They went in the stands.
It was nuts. It reminded me of the old hockey games when they used to jump over the penalty box back in the day and go into the crowd and fight the crowd, the players.
Slap shot.
Bruins in Philadelphia. There was
Yeah.
crazy games back in the day.
Dave Schultz.
Dave Schultz, he was he was a real terror on the ice, right?
Yeah.
He just came in to just make things erupt and cause issues.
He was a goon, basically.
I think we're losing Teddy on this
All right,
subject.
go
'cause
ahead.
this
I
is
remember.
Really?
I
this is
remember
way
Malice in the
before
really.
Teddy. Teddy was probably not even around when this was going on.
I remember Malice in the Palace. I was
Yeah.
watching that game live. Actually, that was a big game. I was watching it live, and
World Peace went
You
in
said
the
you were
stands.
watching your dorm or something, right? Didn't you
yeah,
say?
I was watching it in college.
I
Malice in the
remember.
Palace. Yes, sir.
There
You
go.
guys were passing the bong around when you were watching the game.
Something
huh?
like that.
All right.
The bong, the bottle.
All right, guys, we're getting way off topics over here. I don't know where we're going. But anyways, listen, we got a huge Saturday of college football. Not the greatest matchups, but a huge board of games. And I know we got our two experts here, plus myself. They're going to break down a couple of games. I'm actually looking at a couple. I'm going to start with Teddy. What's your best bet, the best bet on Saturday?
The best bet on Saturday. This is a tough one. You know I don't like to give a couple. I'm going to give two best bets on Saturday. First, I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina -4 versus Army. Maybe it's 4.5. I don't know. This is a line normally I buy from 4 to 3. I don't even care about buying this one. I'm going to leave it where it is, save some money. Coastal Carolina is 5-0 against the spread, 5-0 straight up, 4-1 against the spread on the road, 46th in yards per play, while Army's 105th in yards per play. Army's playing bad right now. Army had one good game where they beat Air Force, and I think this line is a little bit of a reaction to that. I think Coastal Carolina blows them out. I think Army's going to be looking ahead to the Navy game.
Yeah, that's a big game always,
And
no matter what the records are.
exactly. What's the cup? What's the
I forget what
Admirals
Yeah,
Cup? I
something
think
like
it's
that.
called, or the Admirals Trophy.
Yeah.
So if Army beats Navy, they get the Admirals Trophy. They don't really have much else to play for.
That's like the Super Bowl for those two teams.
And even in the game where Army beat Air Force had 6 turnovers. That's why Air Force lost. The Air Force beat themselves. Army didn't beat them. So I'm on Coastal Carolina -4.
Mm-hmm.
And then a real blowout alert here. Oklahoma -24 against BYU. BYU is a bad team. They're 5-5, but their record is better than they are as a team. They have no offense. Their quarterback stinks. Their defense is struggling. And Oklahoma has a top 5 offense. I think Oklahoma wins this game.
They had a big win last week.
Big win last week.
They
I think
needed it.
they needed that after losing 2 games.
Yep.
I think they build off of that win last week, and I think they win big in this one. Oklahoma -24.
Wow.
Do not be afraid to lay the points.
All right, there you go, man. You're hearing if this guy's doing his homework, Big Guna. What's your best bet in college football? Let us know. Come on.
Well, I'm looking at this Georgia-Tennessee game. Now, we all know what Georgia's all about. Number 1, number uno.
Yep.
Tennessee, number 16. Line is 10, 58.5. Georgia's undefeated. ATS 3-6-1 though for the season. Not really covering. Tennessee 6-4.
But they're on the downcline right now, Tennessee. In my opinion, they've been playing terrible the last 3-4 games.
Well, Georgia has won the last 27 games. They've covered the last 4 in Tennessee. This game is being played in Tennessee. Tennessee has won 14 games at home. They've covered 8 out of 9. I just think this is too many points here. I'm taking the points with the Volunteers at home.
Okay.
Plus the 10.
I think you're getting sucked in, man. I think that you see that big number and you're jumping on it. I hate going against the best team out there for the last 3 years, though.
It is a big number. That's just it. So I'll take the
You
10.
see value.
I see value there. A second game, more of a lean, is the Gator Missouri game. The Gators have major problems this year. They're going to be playing in Missouri. They might play tough the first half. I think Missouri just puts it on in the second half. It's 11-point favorite.
Way to go, Big Kahuna. I'm with you on that one.
Me
All
too.
the way.
I love that game.
I'll take the Tigers.
Yep.
My son's alma mater, but
One of
sorry,
my best bets.
I got to go against the Gators. Take Missouri.
Minus the 11.
Minus the 11.
I think they win big.
Yeah, but I like Tennessee. I'm going to take the 10 points.
All right. I got 2 plays I really like this week. One of them just heard right there. I'm jumping on Missouri. I'd buy the line down to 10. Lock it in now. The line is currently 11 points. It may even go a little higher. This Missouri team is real. You saw it last week. That was my best bet on the show, and they won easily. And the bottom line is this team is playing real well right now. They actually had a shot to even play up against Georgia. That's really the only game they lost recently. I like Missouri in this game. I think minus 10 is a huge play. This is a 10-unit selection for me. And also, I'm jumping on UCF. UCF plus the 3 against Texas Tech. I think this UCF team can play on the road. I think they're going to come into this game right. They had a huge win last week. I like the momentum. Texas Tech is up and down. Both these teams playing, I think, 5-5 right now, currently records. They have the same records. I like the dog. I think it's barking loud in this game. UCF, that's a 7-unit selection for me. Those are my 2 plays.
Yeah, I agree with you on that UCF. You know, the problem with UCF this year was John Reese Plumlee was hurt a lot of the season, and they just didn't get it done when he was out. But now that he's back and he's back to form, they had a blowout. They were a dog last week, and they blew out the other team. What was it, Oklahoma
State
yeah.
destroyed them.
Destroyed them.
It was like 49-10 or something.
So, yeah, it was big. It was a 30-plus point win, and they showed a lot, and that's the team that they've always been. My alma mater, by the way. But at the end of the day, I think their struggles this year were because they just got to the Big 12. They're just getting used to the Big 12 teams. But not having John Reese Plumlee was a problem. Now that he's back and he's playing well, I love that play as well. Okay. I have one more.
All right.
I don't really have a pick. It's more of a bringing up a game.
All right. Let's hear it.
Oregon State is favored at home, 2.5 versus Washington, who has the Heisman Trophy front runner right now, and they're an undefeated team.
You think he is the front runner in the Heisman?
I think technically Bo Nix is, but I think Penix is number 2. I think according to the odds makers,
it's close. It's close.
According to the odds makers, I think Bo Nix is the favorite. But you know they beat him head to head, but they might be playing again in the Pac-12 championship. Oregon State, I don't really have a pick yet on this game, but I want to throw some numbers out there. Oregon State is 2-0 against Washington the last couple years, 7-0 against the spread at home versus a team with a winning record, 9-1 against the spread at home overall, and 8-0 against the spread at home versus the Pac-12. Oregon State, that stadium, that's a tough place to go and win.
And they're 5-0 at home this year. They have not missed a home game.
They haven't missed the spread either. They're covering the spread at home also.
And they've been handling their opponents. So this Washington team's in for a tough battle. This could be the one that could get away from them. If they don't come into this game right, this Oregon State team is real. Really real. It's
going to be the most entertaining game. I can't have a pick on it yet.
It's a tough call for me.
It's a tough call, but it's going to be the most entertaining game of the week, in my opinion.
I think what they're doing is they're putting a number out to suck everyone in because everyone's going to look like, 10-0, 8-2. 10-0, why should 10-0 lose? So they're putting out a pretty tight number on this game, and I think a lot of people might end up getting it stuck right in their backside if they don't be careful. This is a tough game. Guys, this is the type of game, don't just play it because you want to watch a game. Play it if you have an edge, if there's some type of edge in your favor, because just to play the game, you're betting into a tough number. I'm telling you right now on this game. This game could go either way.
Yeah, it's going to be an entertaining one.
All right, are we done with college?
I think we're done.
All right. Big Kahuna says he's done. We're done.
Week 11, NFL.
All right. You want to start it off?
I'll start it off.
You got a best bet for us?
I got a really good play here. I mean, the Dolphins are coming home. We all know they didn't do well over in Europe here. Now, the Raiders team, this is a team that might not just score really any points on this game. So if the Dolphins could fire on all cylinders, which they normally do at home, and put up points, which I think they have to bounce back, I'm going to lay the 12 points with the Dolphins against the Raiders. I could see the Raiders scoring maybe 1 touchdown here. And if they could put up points, I say the Dolphins win this game by multiple points over that point spread.
Let me ask you, I don't know if you know the numbers, maybe Teddy knows. Dolphins after a bye week?
I'm not sure,
How
but
do they normally play after a bye?
it
Because they had
doesn't-
a bye and they coming off a couple, bad games. So
it doesn't. The way I look at it is whatever their past history is doesn't really matter because this Dolphins team that they have put together this year is different than any Dolphins team
yep.
for the last decade or more. I mean, ever. They've never had this kind of speed, this kind of offensive power. I am with Tommy on this selection. I like the way that the line is moving towards the
13
Dolphins.
and a half,
Yeah,
by the way,
it opened
on
at
that.
10,
Wow.
and
13 and a half. as we speak.
and they are just juicing this thing. And usually, not always, but when they juice the lines this way, a lot of the times it goes with that big spread. I mean, in the NFL, 13 points is a lot. So when a lot of public bettors look at this, especially, there's a lot of hype behind the Raiders right now. They have the new coach. He's 2-0 since they fired the old head coach, Josh McDaniels.
Antonio Pierce.
Antonio
he used to play for the
Pierce.
Giants. He was a great player.
Yeah, 2-0. They're smoking cigars in the locker room after both wins.
Yeah,
I think that they're going to have a little bit of a wake-up call this week.
they're going to come down there a little bit, and the weather's going to be hot too. It's going to be in the mid to upper 80s. Probably the weather conditions. Well, we're having terrible weather right now, but supposedly going to be much better. So that could wear on.
Well, that's
wear on them,
important.
too.
If it's raining the way it is right now out here, I would be a little concerned with going with that Dolphins line.
Yeah, just watch the weather, guys.
But if it's dry, right? If it's
yeah.
dry and they can get that speed going, I think it's going to be a blowout.
They'll pour the points on.
let me go back to you. Any other play you like other than
I do.
the Dolphins?
I'm looking
the
at
NFL?
you got to look at teams sometimes that are just bad, and we're talking Buffalo, the Jets here. Now the Jets, we all know they're just outright.
They just
horrible.
fired Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, Buffalo.
Well,
just get rid of him.
Look what's happened in the
They made him the scapegoat.
Buffalo this year. I mean, they struggled.
I mentioned it earlier in the season when we did a show. I thought Buffalo was going to have an off year this year. I thought something
you
was
were
gonna,
right.
They're just not right.
Yeah.
There's something going on there. I
There's
don't know what it
definitely
is.
something going on. I'm looking at the total here. I think it's 40.5. I'm going to see. I don't see much offense here. I'm going to go under that total to cash. I don't know who's going to win that game, but I think both teams are struggling right now. I'm going to take under 40.5 to cash that ticket on that game.
Is that your best bet?
No, my best bet is the Dolphins.
Dolphins, mine, and the line's 13.5.
Line's 13.5. Listen, everyone was afraid of Dallas last week. The Dolphins should win this game by 3 touchdowns.
All right, sounds good. Best bet, NFL?
Yeah, 1 second, but just want to go back to the Buffalo thing. Did you guys see the end of that game?
It was
they had
ridiculous.
multiple chances to win it.
Right.
They missed
12
the
men on the
winning
field.
field goal, and then they had 12 men on the field. They had a pass interference drive that got them into a pass interference call that got them into field goal possession, and the Bengals started. Who did they play last week?
What's that?
Buffalo.
Buffalo played. Jeez, you know what? I can't remember.
It was the Bengals, right?
No, it was not.
We look like idiots right now. We watch a lot of games. This is why they start to mold in your head. But the bottom line is, at the end
They
of that,
played Denver.
They played a horrible team.
They played a horrible
played.
team.
Yeah.
I
That's
had
what,
a little.
yeah, and that's what
Yeah.
blows my mind. Buffalo beat the Dolphins bad. The Dolphins beat Denver terrible, and then Denver comes in and beats Buffalo. Denver's average starting field was at the 42-yard line. Buffalo has special teams problems. They have defense problems. I don't know if they should have fired the offensive coordinator.
No, that's what I was. They just made him an scapegoat. That's all.
Right?
Because they've only been averaging. They haven't scored above 26 points. I think they said all. It's like their point totals are way down this year. So they just made him the scapegoat for the stuff on the special teams.
Special teams and defense was terrible, and they fired the offensive coordinator. Now, I know it's more than one game, but to me,
Now, if they kick the field goal, if they don't kick the field goal, he's still on the team, right?
Probably.
as the offensive
Probably,
coordinator.
yeah.
So it's just crazy how things go. Did you would lean in towards who on that game? Were you doing something on the Jets Buffalo game?
no, I'm not touching the game because
Okay.
those teams are both really messy right now.
Okay. Anything else you were doing in the
Yeah,
NFL?
I'm looking at this Chargers-Packers game. This is an interesting game. You got a Chargers team that they lost a heartbreaker. to the Lions last week. That was
a great game, by the way.
Great game, high flying, high scoring, scored a lot of points. This Chargers offense is good, and I think that they are going to pick apart the Packers. The Packers does not have they have their defense is ranked 22nd or 23rd. The Packers are 1-5 against the spread in the last 6. The Packers, this is an interesting stat. The Packers are a home dog right now, +3.
Yeah.
Right.
They've been sucking, though.
In the last 2 years, home dogs that close at either +3 or +3.5 are 6-18 against the spread. So if this line does not go to 4, 4.5, I'm all over the Chargers. But the way that I'm playing this game is I'm playing the Chargers on the first half, because the Chargers' first half ATS numbers are really good. They're 3-1 on the road, first half against the spread. The Packers are 1-3 on at home, first half against the spread. So I'm playing this a little safe. Both of my NFL games this week are going to be first half money lines. Ravens and Chargers, first half money line.
Best bets?
Best bet, Chargers.
Okay.
First half money line.
All right, excellent. Well, you heard it. These guys are doing their homework. They got the numbers. They're putting it all together. And
just forgot who the Bills played last week, but besides that, we got our numbers together.
You know what? We got so much stuff going on, and we're looking ahead to these games this week. It's hard to remember last week. Once we turned the chapter,
It was the Sunday night game.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I fell asleep at halftime.
Come on, Big Kahuna. You're supposed to be up watching these things.
Yeah, well,
what's going on there? You need to put some logs in the fireplace, I think.
Did you give your NFL plays?
No, I am going to give out one best bet.
Wow.
I am jumping all over the 49ers. I think they're going to have another huge game. They crushed it last week. That was one of my top plays I put out. And I am looking for San Francisco. I'm going to lay the 11 on this game. I'm comfortable enough in this game to play San Francisco minus the 11. I think they blow them out easily. So this is going to be a 10-unit best bet on this game. And I'm going to take the over. I'm looking at the game. Hold on one second, guys. I was trying to pull up the number on it. It's going to go over the point total on the Houston and Arizona total, 47. I think that this game is going to be a high-scoring game. These teams, are looking good right at this point. Well, now that they have Murray back for Arizona, they played really well. And this C.J. Stroud, what can you say about him? He's right now probably front runner for Rookie of the Year.
Oh, front runner for Rookie of the Year, and
easily.
I mean, depending on this might be a stretch or a reach, but depending on how they finish, I think he's even in the MVP conversation. If this team wins the division,
I don't think they'll give it to a rookie though. That's tough.
You never know.
That's
you never
tough.
know. But he is playing he's looking like one of the best rookies that we've seen in years.
And the way they're playing right now, Murray's going to want to come out and do his thing for Arizona because he wants to show he can still play and do his thing. And Stroud has been just lights out over the last several weeks. He's finding ways to get this team moving and grooving, and they're putting points up. That 47 looks like it can go over in this game. So I'm going to take that. Just a 5-unit selection. That's a 5-unit play, guys, on over 47 on that game. That's it. I'm done for Sunday.
I love it. Do you guys have anything on Monday night? Usually we don't talk about Monday night here, but it's a really premier game. It's the Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah, I am not doing anything on that game at this point in time because obviously we're doing this show days in advance. But as it gets closer, I may have something. But as of right now, I have nothing on that game. Big Kahuna, anything for you on it?
I haven't looked that far ahead yet.
Okay.
I just think that having
Big Kahuna looks right to the minute. He doesn't look far, he doesn't look out days ahead.
Funny story. So I posted a play on my YouTube for Friday night. And I had, these online haters are hilarious. So I had a guy comment, and he goes, "What kind of rookie are you posting a play 3 days in advance?" So the good thing about it is he's educated enough to know you should really wait until the day of or a couple hours before to really make your bet. But he doesn't understand that we kind of have
What if you love the game and you want the right number?
Right, and we kind of have to do that just for the purposes of posting things online. We can't post games 2 hours before.
Can't listen to the haters out there.
No, but it was just a funny comment because it was like a hater comment, but he also made a good point. But when it comes to putting up videos and putting up games, we got to give our viewers some some time. I mean, not everyone's sitting there on their phone waiting for Teddy's pick. I wish it was like that, but not everyone's sitting there on their phones waiting for Teddy's picks to just drop 2 hours before the game. And if I did it like that, most people
Hey,
wouldn't.
your loyal guys are. Come on now.
Some of them are,
your loyal
yeah.
guys are waiting for every move you make.
But most people would miss that if I posted a game 2 hours before. So if anyone's wondering why we post so far ahead, that's why. But it is smart to wait until a couple hours before the game to place your wager.
Yeah, of course. You want to have every edge you can. I mean, and waiting to the end, sometimes there could be a weather issue, there could be a late injury, there could be a late scratch, whatever the sport is, whatever the case may be. Obviously, waiting to the end is always, but sometimes it works against you because that point spread, that you were looking for might go away because all of a sudden some heavy action's going on the side that you like. So, it's got its ups and downs. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, just to quote the line, KC's 2.5, 3, 46, KC Philly on Monday night.
Yeah, KC and Philly.
Yeah.
KC's 3, and I'll tell you what, I
2.5.
giving Philly points is pretty scary,
Yeah, that's
It's ballsy. It really is. I mean, I think that
but Taylor
Philly's,
Swift's going to be there. I think so.
Oh, she's gotta be
that's
there.
undefeated.
prime time.
Undefeated. They're undefeated. I think they're 4-0 or 5-0 when she shows up. So that's a factor you got to look into nowadays with her being at the stadium. Seems like it brings a lot of good energy to that team.
I just think that it's an interesting line drop because I would imagine it'd be more of a pick 'em because the home team always gets those couple point favorites. But I really do think that the Eagles are the better team. They're playing more consistent. They're just a better
It's just
team.
tough to go against KC, man, especially in their building on a primetime game. Andy Reid, the weapons they have. I mean, they both have weapons. Let's face it, they're both coming off the Super Bowl playing against each other. The game was phenomenal. So they do match up really well against one another.
They match up well. I'm still a little bit bitter about that late hit call versus Burrow. I mean, versus
Jalen Hurts?
the late hit call against Mahomes.
Oh.
When he was running out of bounds, that
right.
final drive of the game.
It kept it alive.
And it kept the drive alive. It pushed them forward 15 yards. I hated that call. A lot of people didn't like that call. So I think that plays into this as well.
But that's what happens when you're, a superstar. You're going to get the breaks.
You're gonna get the breaks.
Brady got him a lot in his career.
LeBron gets them a lot.
Yep.
Did you guys see that the Lakers wrote a letter to the NBA saying that LeBron wasn't getting enough calls? That's why I don't mess with back NBA. I mean, it's like a joke sometimes to me.
It's the big players, they get the breaks. Well, sometimes some of these big players, they get all the calls going in their direction. And some of them, for some reason, the refs work against them. They make it tough for them. Mm-hmm. They don't make it so easy for some of these big players. Like Damon Green is definitely on the list that the referees don't like.
They don't like him.
No,
they don't like him.
And he doesn't get a break at all.
But he also, it's like he feeds off of it and he doesn't care, so he just goes harder.
Like Steph Curry would probably get a lot of breaks in his favor.
Absolutely,
because he's well liked and.
And Draymond feeds off of it and does things even worse, like what he did last night, and it just makes it. It's like a constant back and forth, and it just makes it worse. Yeah,
Draymond's he's an interesting character, I'll tell you. But he's a great ball player. When he shows up and plays, he gives them a lot of spark. He's like he's like the spark on that team that really gets them going. He gets all the other players around them moving, and that's what makes Golden State dangerous. Is when he's at his best, he brings the rest of that team out.
I just wanted to mention I'm really rooting for Georgia right now. I don't know if you guys remember, but I made that futures pick a few weeks back when that line moved. So the Georgia to go undefeated in the regular season. Now they only have 2 more games that they need to do. And
you might be cashing a ticket soon.
The SEC championship game doesn't count.
It's just the regular season.
It's just the regular season. So
what was the odds on that?
It dropped. It was minus 130 and it went to like plus 140. So it was a good movement. Now, the SEC championship game is set in stone. Alabama versus Georgia. Huge game, going to be very entertaining. Maybe we'll see Scotty at that game. You already went to one Bama game, right?
Yeah, I might go to that game.
Now, I saw a video online. I'm going to have producer Ben pull this sucker up. This is a Bama. This was last week, Bama. I'm rooting for Bama all the way right now. I want to see Nick Saban. He's not getting any younger. I want to see him win 1 or 2 more. Look at this thing.
Oh, yeah.
That entire stadium is singing that Dixie song in unison.
I love it.
Do you know the words to that song yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. Maybe next year.
You got to learn the words.
I'm going to go to a couple more games.
You got 100,000 kids all singing the same exact lyrics. That's
103,000.
You want to talk about Taylor Swift? That's more powerful than Taylor Swift right there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Like I said, one of the best experiences I've had, and I've gone to every major event from boxing, UFC, horse racing, you name it, Super Bowls, World Series, NBA Finals. That ranks
College
right up there.
football is the best. We got to do a tour.
Game in Tuscaloosa.
I think next year we should tour. We should do a show each week at a stadium.
Big Kahuna, you ready? I don't know if all the Big Kahuna's fans might be chasing them off set, though.
Rent a camper for that one, huh?
Well, guys, I think we did a lot today.
Definitely, good show.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to end it, but we want to know where the people can find you at the Sports Profits.
Absolutely. So Instagram at @the_profits_pick, YouTube.com/@the_sports_profits, TikTok @the_sports_profits.
All right, the one and only Tommy D. Where can the people find you and your daily information? Because I know you got a lot to offer.
Well, our site, you definitely want to tap in, onlinesportsbet.com. We do have that odds comparison feed, so you could check out different numbers. My Instagram, cracked 13,000. We'll be at 14,000 soon, OSB_sports. And YouTube, I put up about 7 videos a night, OSB-sports.
All right, you heard it. The man is moving up the charts in this business, the Big Kahuna himself. All right, you can find me, guys. Again, I'm Scott Matthews. You can find me on TikTok at SMPicks, PICKS, and on Instagram at SMSportsPicks, PICKS. All right. Anyways, you follow us here each and every week. This is our one and only OSB Sports Podcast. Our show is up on all podcast forums, from Apple to Spotify. You name it, we're there. We're looking to give you the betting edge each and every week. I appreciate you, Teddy, being here, and Tommy D. And this is Scott Matthews. We'll catch you back here next week. Stumbling and bumbling.
Very good, though.